This and more in our SMB Insight this morning.
Honorable, I would like to bring to your notice that research has proven that poverty and poor mental health are comrades. Where you find poverty, you will always find poor mental health. And currently the situation the senior house officers are going through, where they work almost, at times actually work 24 hours a day and do not have time to go and look for any other form of income. Because if you've been on a night duty and the following day you have lectures, and after lectures you have to go to work, you will never have time to generate any other source of income. But your children are looking at you, your wife or husband is looking at you, your parents in the villages are looking at you. That is poverty. So if you have a doctor claiming to offer health services to the common Ugandan, but is having poor mental health, that doctor is not supposed to step near a patient. Because I'm sure you remember primum non nocere, do no harm. You cannot claim to be offering health when you are unhealthy. So we humbly request this committee to look into our issues, because these are facts. You know how we work, and we are glad that the chairperson of the committee went through this entire system and understands. There are times you work 36-hour shifts, 36 hours without resting. And after that you have to go for lectures. So you don't have time to get anything. The other issue that I talked about is a poor doctor does not have the capacity to even handle their physiological needs. You are hungry and you go for a 5-hour surgery. Chances are high that you'll either collapse, or in the process of the surgery you'll have tremors, and the outcome may not be what you'd want. The other possibility is, at times, today we are smart, but of late doctors in our society, senior house officers, are starting to look like paupers. Dr. Ayume, the first impression a patient gets of you as a doctor determines the outcome a lot. Because the first form of healing a doctor gets, rather a patient gets, is from the interaction with the doctor, just talking alone. So if as a doctor I cannot inspire the confidence in a patient that I can actually offer the salvation in quotes that they need from me, then I am failing to do my work.
When a review of the health sector human resource was looked at, until the recent recruitments, there were only 61 senior consultants in this country, out of an expected over 250,000 senior consultants. There were only 61. Recently, a few more have been promoted. The consultants are less than 20, they were 22% of the posts were filled. And these are the people who will train to then guide this. The amount of trauma we have in this country is incredible. The people who are supposed to offer this service, who fix our bones, who fix our backs when we have the road traffic accidents and all these fall off trees, the different injuries, are the orthopedic surgeons. There are very few of them. How do we encourage people to go for training and to offer this service if this is how, once they join, how they are treated? 4 months without pay, 5 months without pay. They started training in October. Next week is going to be March. Not a ceiling. And it is due to them. We have made proposals that the senior house officer policy is completed, that we plan training. How many do we need every year? And we budget for them. We made proposals that in each of these hospitals where training is instituted, we create the post of senior medical officer where they are salaried posts. Because right now, we're offering the training allowances. And whenever there is a budget squeeze, allowances go. And then we allow people to suffer. If we had made these things, we need a permanent solution. We need the SHO policy in place. We need the salaried posts in place so that once they enter, they know, the hospital director knows he has this number of doctors who are going to offer this service. We do not expect them to run off to go and look for something.
The 600, the SHOs we're talking about now are the SHOs who have been receiving the money. The current strike is for the SHOs who have been receiving the money, but they have not received it for 4 months. And then just one thing, sorry I broke down and I got off. One other thing that needs to come out clear.
Please bring a hanky. This man is very emotional. Put the handkerchief here.
Yes, because of the pain we're going through. Yes. So there's one thing that needs to come out clear in this committee, that much as government made commitment to pay this money, and they actually started paying colleagues who are in the public universities, it came to our notice that there was a delay tactic to come and validate the senior house officers. And this delay tactic resulted into senior house officers, our colleagues in Barra Regional Referral Hospital, their chief resident is here, the colleagues in second year right now missed their allowances for 6 months. And after they got validated 6 months, after they had reported and they were doing all this work that you've described, they have never seen that money and no explanation. Those in third year, 5 months. They have never seen this money. Our colleagues in Makerere, in Busitema, 3 months, nothing. So they're in their second year right now, they miss money for 3 months, but no one has ever given an explanation whatsoever where this money is, because we assumed that since they started receiving this money, it ought to have been budgeted for. And from the same document from the Ministry of Health, our dear colleagues, this actually, they know the numbers of senior house officers that are approximately expected every year. In that Human Resources for Health, the annex that has been attached, they predict for the universities around Uganda to be releasing 260 specialists every year. This humble, honorable committee to set up or to organize a meeting with all the concerned ministries, because we know you have the powers to do so. The Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Education, including the stakeholders, that is our mother, Uganda Medical Association. If you can invite us, we shall be glad. Because as you can see, it appears like they do not care about us. Because written letters, no one responds back. You call them, they do not think. You send them WhatsApp, they do not respond. So we cannot take back empty words to the colleagues and tell them, guys, you hungry people, we your leaders who did not call for the strike have called for it, have called it off. So it is against this background that we're asking this humble committee to cause this meeting, and we shall be happy to take back whatever resolutions come out of that meeting in our presence to the colleagues, and then we shall present them in the General Assembly. And I am sure with that written, they will listen to our guidance. But as of now, taking back your answer is not going to do anything, because the situation is bad. You're requesting us to go back to work when my child is at home. You expect me to perform surgery? I think we have to be human and as a human face.
We have had all your concerns, and I think we have hit what they call an impasse in negotiation, where there is a stalemate. There's no winning on either side. And you clearly put it, and we feel your pain. But we're also messengers on this side. None of us here has a key to the treasury. And I would be lying to you if I told you that I have that button that I'll press today, and tomorrow your accounts will be credited. No, we're also messengers. We're different in the health sector. We have to go back to the budget committee. We have to go back to the Ministry of Health. A lot of consultations have to be met. Unfortunately, we feel your pain. There's also an issue of trust, and I can't blame you. You've been back and forth to the mother ministry. You felt ignored, and we are saying as a health committee, give us the mantle, but you're still not convinced that we shall be able to deliver. What I can promise for now is that we can cause a meeting expeditiously, a tripartite meeting with the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Health, and also a representation from Uganda Medical Association, so that you listen in, and once they give the position, I think you need to also consider.
Of course, doctors appearing before the Health Committee in Parliament and having one amongst their grievances being a delay in salaries and, of course, less pay that they receive. But also the fact that sometimes the delay in salaries has been one of the key things when it comes to public servants, by the way, but also something to do with less pay. Then the conditions under which they work, no allowances, no day offs for some. Some believe that they're actually working up country and they need different supplies besides, the salary or the daily allowances that they get. But of course, there are some essentials that you need to have. And when you are attached to a job like being a doctor, you will definitely need them. So that is one of the reasons as to why they are threatening to go on strike again. But of course, the committee apparently says, please don't go on strike as of now. So your take on this issue. Yesterday we were discussing the issue to do with the fact that in the next financial year, there is no expectations of any salary increment whatsoever. So that means the doctors will have to wait.
Yeah, but also this we should, besides looking at doctors, not just doctors, I try to relate it to other sectors, because actually even public service actually poses something, and they say they are not adding any worker to them, neither are they replacing. So literally, even though somebody died, they're not replacing. That means we shall see lots of ghost workers. Well, anyway, that was just that. But this is something that is, it's not giving a good example to other sectors, because we have one of the culprits, actually victims of salary increase, teachers. I'm trying to relate them to teachers, and most especially science teachers.
Yes.
Because my worry is that, according to those talks, they are telling them cut off the strikes. That they're going to, but I know this is something that has been always going on, tactics on how, because these people honestly last got their allowances in October.
Last year,
2022,
Of course, there have been some delays in salaries for most of the government workers. And this is one of the reasons as to why most of these particular doctors and medical interns are still on strike, because of the same.
Exactly.
They believe they are overworked. So they should at least receive pay that fits in the same. Because imagine, if you look at some of them, I think they do, they try to rate themselves with, for example, doctors that are entirely working for the private sector. And someone will clearly come out and say, you know what, the other doctor is receiving this amount of money. Or doctors in Kenya, for example, those who have actually got the chance to travel out of the country and continue with their medical profession, would clearly tell these people to stand up for their rights as doctors, or because of what kind of, the kind of risks they face while they are in field
on their operation. But Joram, it all comes back to the ultimate question: is the money there to pay them? That's something also very, very important, because it's like you strike, but at the end of the day, it doesn't yield the results that you want to, you anticipate. Because I'm imagining a scenario where teachers striked, and imagine the term closed midway. I think maybe that would be some of the an indicator to show that probably this is an aspect which is very serious. And also we are seeing that this is also a global wave from the perspective. I think a month ago we saw workers in Britain. I think it was Britain. Was it Britain? Yeah, demanding for higher pay wages. But of course, in such countries, it's not like in here. Such grievances are hard, and of course, parties sit down and find ways they can really work on that. But now you see, coming back to our country, Uganda, it also, because of this, it also explains why the medication health is very expensive. because doctors are going to find ways of increasing income, and
because they have to get some money out
have to get some money, and when that means they're going to snatch the drugs out of the
and we've had a lot of cases of drugs, limited drug supplies.
Limited drugs, exactly.
In especially when it comes to upcountry hospitals.
Yeah.
And the only alternative that is there now is doctors are setting up their own pharmacies. You get to realize.
Exactly.
If you go into some simple investigations, you realize some doctors set up their own pharmacies.
Exactly.
For example, the hospital is short of this particular drugs,
yeah,
they will have to apparently send these particular
patients
to their own
pharmacies.
Actually,
I've experienced that.
So when you go that side, they're trying to make some extra income. Because simply because they still want their jobs though, regardless of the fact that the salary delays and it's less according to what they want to receive. But then despite that though, there are some medical officers who have received the enhancement in their salaries according to some reports, though they are the few ones.
So for them, they have gotten some kind of an increase.
Yes, an increment according to still some of the findings from the health committee, or what was presented to the health committee, but those are the few ones. And it's still, when you look through that, it has taken time for them to receive that salary increment. So the main emphasis of the health committee has been also to remind these doctors not to go on strike, because we do know once the doctors are on strike, there's a lot more of people's lives and health at stake once these doctors are out there.
Okay, now if they tell them to put off the strike, are they going to fulfill the grievances? Oh, that could be another 2-month wait to increase salary. I think sometimes I would be a little positive on this side, because it doesn't make sense not until it happens to you, Joram. You know, you get to realize that this world is real. You know, you hear things, but not until it happens to you, you get to know. I mean, if you know that this is a person that is handling lives of people, why don't you pay their money in time?
Very true.
Because you know that, okay, I may go to work, I may go to that ward to work on that person, but if I'm emotional, I can do I can do what I want to that person, you know. So I mean, it's not. I mean, it shows you how the policymakers really think in this country, you know, about the people in here, because this is like another pandemic now, in a way of sorts. Doctors striking, it's a pandemic to me in itself.
Yeah, okay.
Because they're going to be causing a certain, you know, because imagine patients. I mean, dying in ways that we don't understand because the doctor is emotional. You know, psychology, it's very important, but we don't pay attention to that.
All right, and of course, one of the other issues regarding the doctors and of course the other medical interns is that the policies do seem to be affect for the health workers, and most of them have actually using them to cheat. When you look at what is happening in the health sector now, these are some of the cases that has actually led to, you know, we've heard of scenarios where these people are actually dying. Not only that, you're hearing of patients dying. Then you hear of cases that, well, someone actually did not get good treatment. Someone paid lots of money, but still wasn't taken good care of. And it's actually very common when it comes to government hospitals, or where someone has an appointment with the doctor and the doctor fails to, you know, to apparently attend to them, or the doctor is absent. These are all things that have been brought about by the doctors going on strike, because they want government to come on board and work on them and work on their issues, because they always address these issues to the government to ensure that the government works upon or works on their issues. These are some of the things that continue to eat up. But of course, with the budget cuts in the next financial year, you get to realize that the doctors will still wait for quite a long time, and then other public servants that are still applying or seeking for the salary increment cuts, it does not seem like it is yet to happen as soon as possible. But of course, doctors have been encouraged and reminded not to go on strike, because government has heard of their cries and is working on them. That is all I can definitely be able to bring out, because according to the committee, it is just a matter of time that the government will be solving these particular cases of the doctors.
Well, it would all make sense. A budget cut would make sense if I know I'm going to buy fuel a liter at 3,000. You know, if I know that you're investing that money back in a way that that we are going to produce more. As we produce more, we sell out more, we bring more in. And when we attract more foreign currency, our shilling gains value. You know, so if the budget cuts is going to cater for that, it would make sense. But budget cut doesn't make sense as fuel is increasing on the other day. It's all never. At least the equation has to balance in a certain way.
Oh, okay.
Coming back to the doctor's issue there.
And that was it for our SMB Insight this morning, with more discussions and more updates yet to come here on the show. Stick around to Smart Means Business. After the break, we continue.